There is no direct archaeological evidence for the existence of a historical Jesus. But the notion that means that there likely never was a historical Jesus is wildly uninformed. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. And we don't have direct archaeological evidence for more than 99.9% of the people who lived in Judea during the 1st century CE, and that includes the wealthy and the powerful people. Not only was this not a time and place that is crawling with historians who are documenting things, but the accident of preservation just means that we don't have direct archaeological evidence for the overwhelming majority of all people from the ancient world. It is rare that we find direct archaeological evidence of an identifiable figure. We didn't even find direct archaeological evidence of the existence of Pilate until 1961, and he was the procurator of all of Judea for 10 years. The overwhelming academic consensus is that there was a historical Jesus who was an apocalyptic itinerant preacher who probably preached for about a year before being executed by the Roman state. Now, most of the Jesus tradition accreted to that story in the decades following his death, based on the movement that started up following his death. And a lot of those traditions are based on then contemporary ideals and traditions regarding messianism, regarding deity, regarding apocalypticism. So many of them reflect the features of other figures from that time period. But the argument that there never was any historical Jesus and that this was just made up out of whole cloth based on other deities or other itinerant preachers is rejected by the overwhelming majority of scholars across the entire spectrum of belief and non-belief, because it requires a number of assumptions. It requires a lot of data be ignored. It requires a lot of squinting at data to make things that are not really related seem like they're more related. If we just look at the data and weigh probabilities, which is really all we can do in the absence of direct archaeological evidence, it is more likely than not that a historical Jesus existed, but we do not have any direct archaeological evidence for the existence of a historical Jesus.